Hi, if you're new to the channel, thank you very much. My name's Dustin, my dog is called Amber, and this is my primitive camp. I built this thing about 3 years ago with Mike from TA Outdoors. It took about 12 days and a lot of effort. We weren't professionals, we still aren't professionals, but we learned a lot from building this. For example, you can see there are lots of cracks in the walls. We didn't quite make the mixture right for it to not crack. Therefore, it does need a bit of repair work. I'm going to be here for the next couple of days with my dog. I've got plenty of food, I've got everything I need. Yeah, please stick around, enjoy the video, and yeah, again, welcome to my camp, welcome to the channel, thank you for watching. And before we get any further into the video, I would like to briefly show you around the Roundhouse and possibly 1 or 2 more shelters I have down here at the Bushcraft camp. These walls are made from hazel hurdles. It took quite a while making I think there's about 12 panels in total. And then what we did was we collected lots and lots and lots of mud and clay. In fact, it was clay, and then we mixed in some straw. But I think we needed to mix in a bit of sand to reduce the cracking. And obviously before we built these, we had to build the structure, and this was built out of cedar wood. The majority of the wood in this woodland is cedar. So all of those beams up there, they're all cedar. And if I pan down, you just see we've got a nice little fire pit there. There's Amber chilling out. And each length of cedar had to have the bark shaved off it. The reason why we've stripped off all the bark is to reduce the rate at which the wood starts to rot. Because when you leave the bark on, it allows all the creatures and bacteria and all that to form, which causes the wood to start to decompose. And as for these posts at the bottom here, so these ones that go into the ground, you can see they've all been burnt. Again, that's to reduce the rate at which they absorb moisture and begin to rot. And there's a few other things around the camp, such as this ash log, which has been turned into a table. So this fire pit, I've got these 2 sticks in, and normally I'll put a cross section and then hang a hook, well, a wooden hook, which allows me to hang a pot. Great for cooking or great for boiling the water in the morning for a cup of tea. And when it comes to the door, well, it's just a simple hazel frame, and then I've used a load of deer hides to well, to turn it into an actual door, and it seems to work. And if you're wondering what this is it's a fishing trap. It's a primitive fishing trap. I used hazel, lengths of hazel stuck into the ground, and then I've used honeysuckle, and I've wrapped it around in order to create this crayfish or a fish trap. And you know what? There's a lake up there and it works really well. But I don't have any bait. I could use the chicken legs, I guess. We'll see what happens later. So yeah, dinner wise, I've got sweet potato cooked perfectly, no butter, no salt, pepper, nothing needed, just that beautiful sweetness of the sweet potato. And then red peppers, and then 2 different types of chicken wings. There's a lemon and herb and a barbecue marinade. And to wash it down, of course, a beer. So yeah, cheers. These fire cooked sweet potatoes are just amazing. And the bones, I'm throwing them in the fire so that my dog doesn't eat them. Wow, lemon and herb marinade, incredible. So before I go to bed, I just want to show you or talk to you to those people that are wondering about how I lit the fire. I used my knife and a fire steel, but I also used a bit of fatwood, which I shaved down onto that bark. So the bark was cedar bark. The insides of it are full of fibres. Using my axe, I fluffed it up into a little ball, then shaved down some of this, the fatwood, and then used my fire steel, a couple of strikes, and there you are. You end up straight away with a flame, which I then turned into a fire, which I've just cooked on. So yeah, if you are still watching, thank you very much. I think I'm going to go to bed in a minute, and yeah, there's a few projects I want to get on with tomorrow, so stay tuned. I'll see you then. that was probably one of the best breakfasts I've ever cooked in the woods. Fresh avocado, toast, bacon, and 2 eggs, which I collected yesterday morning from the chickens at the bottom of my garden. The thing about doing poached eggs is you really want the eggs to be as fresh as possible, because that way the egg white holds together. If you use an older egg for a poached egg, the egg white kind of disperses all over the bottom of the pan, leaving this whitey egg mix everywhere, and then your yolk just on its own, just feeling alone. So yeah, spot on breakfast. Cup of tea as well. I like tea. I'm not really a coffee drinker. It's my second cup of tea. Yeah, so the plan now is I'm just going to wash down my chopping board, knife and fork, or spork. Speaking of which, if you do like the chopping boards, all the sporks, or even these cups, they're called Cooksers, then feel free to check out the link below. This is my merch. You guys purchasing the merch really supports the channel. And speaking of merch, don't forget, if you're interested in any clothing, hoodies, t-shirts, then check out the link below. I've got these thin kind of like long sleeve t-shirts, and then I've got these t-shirts as well with the Bushcraft Tools logo on the back. You can't see it, but if you go on the link below, you'll find it. And if you're wondering how I slept, well, I slept really well actually. I let the fire go out shortly before going to bed because I'm always worried about the roof catching fire during the night, and yeah, it's just a big worry. I think it's just common sense really. I didn't really need the fire to keep warm because it's summertime now, well, almost, and yeah, it really is quite warm in the evenings. But yeah, I slept really well all the way through. Woke up this morning about 6:30 to the sound of the birds. Perfect. So if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for subscribing and watching these videos. You might not be familiar with this, but many of you will be familiar and probably have seen the video. This is a cedar log cabin. It took me about 5 days to build. I built it with a friend, Care Bear Adventures, and we built it about a year ago. The wood used, well, that was cedar wood. This woodland is filled with cedar trees pretty much everywhere. There's a few oak trees, 1 or 2 beech trees, and an ash tree. However, most of it is cedar wood, and they've been logging this woodland. They've been clearing it for the last year, allowing more sunlight to reach the forest floor. So what did I do? I used some of the wood that they had logged and turned it into a log cabin. I haven't been here since, I think, February, which is why it's starting to look a bit weathered. You can see here there's moss. This is all fallen out. Lots of moss has just fallen down. In fact, I've seen birds land on here, pick off the moss and fly away. I mean, I guess they're just using it for nesting material. And in here, there's a bed. I've created a really nice bed in here. This is the most comfortable bed down here at the Bushcraft camp. And then I've got a little ash table. The legs are made from ash, and the wood here, that has ash as well. A few leftover candles. This is quite cool. This obviously is a pine tree. It's been cut. These pine cones have been, well, they're obviously attached to the tree. I've drilled it out there, and I've turned that into a little candle holder. Then I've got a few shelves, again from cedar wood, logs. I've split them down, and I've just put a few nails into the wall. Yeah, they work really well. And yeah, you can see again there's a few gaps. It's where the moss has been probably pulled out by the birds. But not to worry, that only takes a few minutes and I could pretty much fill all the gaps. And when I do camp here, I normally have a wood stove right here with the flue going up and then out of the wall. Hey. Hey. There's one thing I'd like to do today, and that is create a hanging spit setup or a hanging pot setup. Basically, I need a straight stick with a V in there, one there as well, and then a long section of hazel which I can hang pots off, or kettles or Dutch ovens and so on. Amber's. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually creating a bit of cordage, just some little bit, only a small length, which is going to be attached to the end or the handle of my spatula that I've just made. And you might have just noticed I've just made 2 chopsticks, which means I'm having Chinese tonight. Oh yeah. So just to bring you up to date, today it was quite a warm day today. I didn't do as much as I had hoped to. However, I did manage to fix this chair. The chair that's made up of almost 2 triangles that slot together. It's a great little chair. In fact, I've got a video somewhere on my channel from about 2 years ago. Check it out if you're interested in making one of these chairs. And then, as well as fixing the chair, I've also built, as I mentioned this morning after breakfast, I had planned to improve the campfire setup. What I mean is, I sourced some hazel, 2 lengths with a V-notch, and they go in either end of the fire. And then I've got a crossbar, another straight length of hazel, which allows me to hang pots and pans and Dutch ovens. And it makes campfire cooking that little bit more fun, but also that little bit more easier. And another thing that I've done is I've sourced a load of firewood, I've sawn it down, I've split it, and I've got it piled up in the Roundhouse. And during that process of splitting down the firewood, I found a nice little piece that I turned into not only chopsticks for tonight, but also a spatula. And then I've just twisted together some strong but really quick cordage out of the inner fibres from the bark from cedar trees. So that I can just hang up like that. But to be honest with you, I'll probably use it tonight and just burn it. So there's one more thing I'd like to show you, and that is this. This is a bit of fatwood that I have here. It's on a bit of paracord, and I've got a few of these around the camp, and I normally just leave these hanging in the trees or inside the shelters. These are great when it comes to fire lighting. Last night you saw me use this, and the way to do it is using a knife. You create little shavings like this. They all build up in a pile, and then using your ferro rod or your fire steel, you can then strike straight onto the pile of shavings like that, and 1, 2, maybe 3 strikes later you end up with a little flame. The great thing about fatwood is it doesn't just burn quickly and go out like a bit of wood. It actually burns for a long time because of the resin. It's concentrated within the wood. Fatwood you find on dead pine trees all around the woodland where there's pine trees. If you're interested to know exactly how to find fatwood, please check out one of my previous videos and I'll show you how. But for now, back to it. Let's do a little demonstration. So there's a few ways to do it. One way is to just shave off little chips like that, or another way, which I like to do, especially for the early stages of firelighting, is just to shave it like this. And you can see it's creating a nice little pile of really fine shavings of the fatwood. Basically, resin wood. You don't really need to use that much with this. You know, I think I've got a big enough pile there to be able to get a flame out of. And again, using my ferro rod or my fire steel, I'll just strike down a couple of times. And there you are, flame straight away. And if you look, you'll see how thick and how black that smoke is. And that shows you how much resin is within that wood, which is great for firelighting. So before it goes out, I'm going to just take off some larger flakes of fatwood. And in fact, this is just going to show you how long, there we are, I've got a nice piece there, how long it burns for. So I'll just catch that flame with this. That's that one piece right there. You can just see once again how thick that smoke is, how black that smoke is. That shows you it's full of oil. And you can just see how effective this would be on a damp day when you're out in the woods and you're trying to light a fire, but everything is wet. And that is it. That is fatwood. And tonight's meal will be a stir fry, an Asian stir fry. So I've got some chicken, gonna cook the chicken off, and then I've got the vegetables to add to it, and the sauce as well. Oh, you know it's good when you're licking the pan. That was incredible. Good morning. Well, I slept really well for once, and yeah, before I went to bed, I removed I just got rid of the fire. I brought the fire from the Roundhouse out here and just let it go out overnight, because again, I'm always worried about sleeping in the thatched roof shelter and the roof catching light, which wouldn't be too cool. So the plan now is a cup of tea, and yeah, cook up a little bit of breakfast. I don't have much food. I'll tell you what I have. I have half a red pepper, I have a little bit of bacon, and 1 egg. What can you do with those 3 ingredients? I can only think of one thing: a 1 egg omelette. So I think I'm going to do a 1 egg omelette after my cup of tea, and after I just need to wake up a little bit. So I've been here for 3 days, and a lot of people say to me, how do you charge things like your mobile phone, your lamps, your head torch, even your camera batteries? You know, I've got 4 camera batteries and I have to charge them all every single day. And I wouldn't be able to do that with just a small battery pack which fits in your pocket. So let me introduce you to Bluetti. Bluetti create solar panels and power banks. The great thing about this is that I can be off-grid for several days, weeks, maybe months or years at a time, and always have power. I guess as long as there's a bit of sunshine. The beauty is that I can charge all my batteries, and it just allows me to film freely without worrying about how much battery do I have left. Should I skip this scene? Should I film that instead later on? You know, instead of prioritizing my battery, it means I can film anything and everything without worrying about running out of battery. So again, a big thank you to Bluetti for sending out the panels and what I call the Big Blue Power Station. I'm going to put all the links below. If you're interested, please check them out. Thank you again. And with that being said, I'm going to drink some more of my cup of tea and then start on my 1 egg omelette. It'll be interesting. And speaking of food, the stir fry last night, that is my sort of food. That was just incredible. Right, time to make a 1 egg omelette. I've run out of oil, which means I'm having to slowly cook this bacon to allow all the fat to seep out, which will then help me cook the rest of the food. So it seems to have worked out pretty well. Bacon, leftover red pepper, and 1 egg with a pinch of pepper. I didn't put any salt in it because the bacon's quite salty already. So I've got a question for you. What is your favourite breakfast when you're out camping? Please let me know in the comments section. And once again, if anyone's interested in any merch, then I have sporks, I have chopping boards, and I've also got things like t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeve t-shirts, cookses, fire lighting devices. There's a whole world of toys out there. Go onto the Bushcraft Tools website if you're interested, and thank you again if you have already visited. And that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, the only way to let me know is by hitting the like button. Also, if you want to see me come back here in a week, sleep in there for 24 hours, type the words log cabin. If you haven't already subscribed, you know what to do. Please hit the subscribe button. It's been great fun, 3 days here. I've been catching up with the camp. I've missed it. It's been a long time. There's a few jobs that still need to be done, but I'll do that next time if you comment the words log cabin. Goodbye.